Hello friends, this is Raj Sastry from Raj Option Trading. Today is June 17, 2021. I want to talk about a company called PDS Biotechnologies, ticker symbol PDSB, and these guys are into, basically coming up with the drugs to treat cancer. So with that, they're developing a powerful, safe, versatile immunotherapies, and let's jump into a little more detail. And if you go through this slide here, one of the significant barrier to effective immunotherapy is really inability of this CD8 plus killer T cell responses. And because of inefficacy and diminished response, 90% of cancer patients fail checkpoint inhibitor therapy. So this company wants to change that, and they want to have this T cell responses and actually durability of this response also. So with that, this company is really developing powerful CD8 plus killer T cell response, and they want to generate right type and quality of effective CD8 plus killer T cell, and they want to generate memory T cells, so that way it really has durability. And they want to do this by avoiding the systemic side effects. That's very important. So with that, let's jump in here. If you look at the corporate overview here, they are developing this novel T cell activating cancer treatment. It's really good to see this company is going after this cancer treatment. And they got two oncology clinical trials anticipated to release data in 2021. So pipeline is solid. They got two of these and many other things they're working on. And they got partnerships with Merck, MD Anderson Cancer Center, National Cancer Institute. So it's really good to see this company is partnering heavily. And tiny company, as you can see here, just 15 employees, in New Jersey. So it's good to see companies really watching its expenses and headcount carefully. And they're completely debt free, and they got 29.5 million in cash. That's also good to see. And they got this Versamune platform here, and they have NCI initiated phase 2 combination trial. It's good to know that. And they also have no new or elevated toxicities. That's good to know. And they have preclinical studies. They demonstrated wide array of oncologies and viral antigens, and they got multiple compositions. So overall, I think tiny little company trying to help with the cancer cure, and they're partnering with the good companies like Merck, MD Anderson, and co. So with that, let's jump in here. From a pipeline perspective, as you can see here, they got multiple things going on. They got about 6 indications, as you can see here, and they're working with Merck, NIH, MD Anderson, NIH again. So it's good to see they got multiple things going on, and many of these, as you can see here, two of this PDS 0101, and even the last one here, it's funded by PDS Biotech. They will need some cash for this funding. And as you look at other things here, they are funded by the partner like NIH or MD Anderson and so on and so forth. It's good to see they are funding themselves. In this case, for this one here, they are funding all by themselves. So with that, let's jump in. I feel good about this pipeline here. These can be catalysts. If many of these go through successfully, company can really do very nicely. So let's jump in. Let's look at the company snapshot here. PDS Biotechnology Corporation, ticker symbol PDSB. Stock price is $11.52. Last few days, stock has been steadily going up after a small drop. So company is really clinical stage biopharma company. They are focusing on developing multifunctional cancer immunotherapies. Their leading candidate is PDS 0101, which is in phase 2 clinical trial. And this one is really for recurrent head and neck cancer. And they also have multiple other things like cervical cancer, prostate and breast cancer, ovarian cancer, colorectal, so on and so forth. And the CEO is Dr. Bedu Ado, and the market cap is around 256 million. And if you look at the stock chart here, this company used to do so well in the beginning. Stock has fallen down, and now they're trying to make a comeback, as you can see here. Slowly but surely, they're trying to come back here. And the CEO, Dr. Bedu Ado, he has served as director and president and CEO of this company since inception back in 2005. And he's a veteran biotech executive. He's got a lot of expertise. So from a CEO perspective, he checks out. He's got relevant expertise. So I feel good about CEO. And from a news perspective, looks like one of the reasons stock came down is they announced closing of 52 million public offering. So that's why the moment company sells some of these public offering, that's why stock kind of fell down, as you can see here. And folks are wondering here, is it a good company to buy at this point? And also proposed offering like we talked about. And from a positive news perspective, I think they released some interim data, and there is some positive news, and it's also presented in some of these ASCO presentation. And overall, looks like their program achieves 67% reduction. That's a very good news. So overall, I feel like company is trying to make a comeback at this time. It was a great company. Stock was very high before. It fell off because of FDA related approval issues, but now it's trying to make a comeback. So here we got a list of competitors, in this space. As you look through here, PDSB, our stock that we are talking about today, stock price went up. Now it's about $11 now. But as you can see here, it's done very nicely for 1 year, 621% in 1 year. And if you look at 6 month, 3 month, 1 month, it's up all the way. But when they announced they are going to do some public offering of stock, that's when it fell off 2 weeks ago. But now they're recovering, slowly but surely. I feel like it's a good time to moderately buy. Even though stock is up nicely for 1 year, they're down for 5 year. They're down for from 52-week high very nicely. So I feel we should moderately buy this stock, taking advantage of this weakness in 1 week and 2 week chart. And we got a couple more companies as you can look through here. The ones I highlighted in bold are the companies with the good positive quarter over quarter revenue. I like to invest in the companies with the positive quarter over quarter revenue and solid gross margin if it's possible. So with that, the way this chart is organized is we got ticker symbol, the company, the stock price, market cap. Sales is very important for me. In case of PDSB, they don't have any sales, but they're working through multiple candidates and pipelines and catalysts. Sales growth is also very important. And then we got gross margin also very important, and net margin too. And debt to equity ratio is also very important to watch. A high debt to equity ratio like Aptivo here, it's got a high debt to equity ratio. That tells you company is taking too much debt on its balance sheet, which is not great news. ROE, I like to see double digit ROE, but it's not always possible in these biotech companies which are early stage. RSI, I like to have the RSI below 50 if possible, or at least below 55. That will give you good entry point. So that tells you, if the RSI is above 50 or 55, that tells you company is really overbought and stock is up at this time. But if the RSI is below 50 or 55, that's when you can buy moderately, because at this time it's good time to buy because stock is over sold at this time. Ownership is important. This tells you if the mutual fund companies are buying it and the big players are buying the stock. Short ratio is good to understand, because if the short ratio is high and company stock has fell off, you got a good chance for a short squeeze. On the other hand, if the short ratio is really high and the stock is flying high, you can moderately buy some put options or put spreads to take advantage of any price depreciation. And then very important, I got price to sales ratio. It will tell you if the company is expensive from a valuation perspective. And then performance is very important for me. I look at 1 day all the way to 5 year performance to really understand where is the company at. Is it always at the 52-week high, or is it somewhere in between? So with that, let's go through this here. I highlighted a few companies I love. BioCryst also here. It's a $16 stock, and they got a good sales and a good quarter-over-quarter sales growth. And as you can see, a nice gross margin. And they got good institutional ownership, and price to sales ratio from a valuation perspective a little high. But as you look through here, they're flat for 1 week, and they're down for, flat for 2 week, down for 1 week. So you can moderately buy at this time, but it can, I think it's okay to buy moderately. They're down 8% from 52-week high, and as you can see, they've done very nicely for 5 year, 1 year, 6 months, all the way. It's not a one-trick pony. Stock has been doing nicely, for a long period of time. And then we got a couple more here. DermTech is one of my favorite. I love to buy this company. When they're off, when their stock is down. Right now, I think company stock is doing pretty okay, but still, I think it's down 49%. It's okay to buy this moderately on down days. We got a couple more here. Fate, it went up drastically in the last couple days. I would wait a little bit, then buy a little bit later. And we got I-MAB. I-MAB is one of my favorite. I like to buy this company also, when it's down. As you can see here, it's right now it's okay to buy. It's down for 2 weeks and just up like 2% and 4.4%. I would buy this company on down days. Then we got a couple more here. AFMD, BioGene, BGene. So AFMD, as you can see here, it's one of my favorite stock, just $8 here, and has positive sales growth, as you can see here. And stock has been fallen off late, 3 month, 1 month, all the way to 1 day. It's good to buy this company. It's in a little bit weakness situation here, but they've done nicely for 1 year as well as 5 years. So on the long term, company will do well. Then we got a couple more. BGNE, as we talked about, zero sales at this time. As you can see here, company stock has been fallen off since last 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 day. This is when we can buy slowly. The stock is a little high price, as you can see here, but you don't need to buy a lot. Buy slowly, moderately, and get ready for positive surprise. We got a couple more. Sorrento, ANIX, CVM. As you can see here, the stocks I have highlighted in green here, they are good to buy at this time. As you can see, a stock has been fallen off. In case of ANIX, CVM stock has been falling off, and even Sorrento, as you can see here, stock is off 55% from 52-week high. And as you can see here, we got MRUS Heat Bio, same story. I think it's good to buy them too. And CCCC C4 Therapeutic, I think this also stock has been falling off late. Good to buy on this weakness slowly and accumulate a nice position. And Seagen, same story. It's also, as you can see here, nice gross margin, nice net margin. And if you look at 1 week, stock is 3% off, and they're 28% off from 52-week high. Now let's look at one more page here. We talked about Harpoon earlier. Harpoon is a good stock. It's been fallen off the grace because of the FDA approval. It's good to buy on this weakness. Then we got Zyopharma and NRIX. Same story here. It's good to buy a little bit moderately and accumulate a good position here. So with that, let's jump into PDS Corporation, PDSB. From a quick statistics perspective, so they got an upgrade back in November 2020, and it was a buy rate with a price of $6, but now stock is up around $11. From an earnings per share perspective, as you can see here, they were a lot down earlier. Now they're a little bit down. So at least there is some positiveness here. I love to see EPS growing. In this case, we have the EPS growth, as you can see here. From a sales perspective, company is not making any revenue at this time because it's a clinical stage biopharma company. They're working on their drug at this point. They got a couple of trials like we talked about. So I think it's understandable at this time there is no revenue. From a shares outstanding, this is where company stock came down. I think they issued a lot of shares to fund their programs, so that's why there is some dilution. That's why stock came down off late. And as you look through here, they got nice market cap 221. Now it's even higher. And ROE, return on equity, is negative at this time. Mainly it's not meaningful right now. RSI 49 indicating it's okay to buy moderately, and they are down for 1 week, down for 2 weeks, but they're up nicely for 1 year, and they're down for 5 years, and they're down 26% from 52-week high. And if you look at volume, very nice respectable volume. So you are not you don't need to worry about liquidity. Nice volume. I love this volume. They got good amount of cash and very low debt, just a very low number here. And they got negative cash flow. It's a small biotech company, and they're spending on the R&D. That's always good. And looks like they're below their 20-day moving average after the stock public offering here, but they're up nicely above their 50-day moving average and all the way through. And ROA is also negative, return on assets, which is understandable, early stage company. So with that, let's jump in and look at some more statistics about the company. From a fundamental perspective, stock price as of yesterday was $9.95. Today it went up to $11, and market cap is 221. And if you look through the stock over the period, so I got multiple quarters here, 331, 1230, 1, and so on and so forth. Stock was at $10 back in 12/31/18. It went all the way to 39, 31. Now it fell off late. It was also as high as 51 and 30. And also, if you can see here, this is market cap. So market cap, as you can see here, it did nicely. 10 million in the beginning, 39, 31. Now it's 101 by 331, and right now it's 221. From a stock price perspective, I think they're done okay. 642 back in 2018, and right now it's about $11. I think it's up and down market. As you can see, a stock went all the way to 73 cents back during COVID days, but now it recovered nicely. No sales like we talked about earlier, and they don't have any revenue surprise. It's in line. They don't have any revenue at all. From a earnings per share perspective, as you can see here, they are showing some positive surprise of late, and they also showed the negative surprise in couple of quarters. They got good cash balance. That's not an issue. They can sustain their operations. It's always good to know. And they got low debt. Free cash flow is negative because they're funding their operations. They're burning some cash, from their cash position here. So with that, let's jump into this company. I think earnings are not meaningful here because there is no revenue at this point. They're funding their operations through the cash they have. That's one of the reasons they issued some more public offering of stock, so they can get some money through this and fund their operations. From an earnings statement, this is back a little earlier. So CEO here, Bedu Ado, Dr. Bedu Ado, he's basically talking about advanced clinical development of their drug here and oncology pipeline. They made some significant progress. They got clinical phase 2 trials, and I think they also have a phase 3, three phase 2 clinical trials. So that's good to know. Companies working on pipeline, even though they don't have revenue right now, due to this pipeline, there could be a big surprise. And they're working on HPV 16 positive relapse or refractory advanced HPV associated cancers. That's a good news here. And also their trial data has been accepted by for this presentation here, American Society of Clinical Oncology. That's good to know. So if a ASCO, which is a big organization, if they accept the data from this company, that tells you there is something positive about this company. And also they are trying to work on this killer T cell like we talked about, and there's some progress here. And they also have good amount of cash, 25 million like we talked about, which is also good. They can fund their operations easily. And they're thinking about basically um, operational efficiency. It's always good to see companies focusing on the operational efficiency. And they got a lot of oncology clinical trials going on, so that will help the company to really put some drug out in the market. Then we'll have real revenue. So with that, let's jump into performance of this company. So from a yearly performance, as you can see here, company has been negative from a yearly performance all along. 2015 negative, 2016, 2018, all the way to 2020, performance on a yearly basis is negative. If you look at the stock price here, you will be surprised. I was surprised myself. So back in 2015, stock price was as high as $469, low was $241. So if you see the stock price now, it's $13. So as you see here, 469, they were 349 back in 2018. I think they had some issue with the FDA approvals. That's why stock collapsed all the way from 349 in 2018. It went back to as low as $6.11. So there is a hope that this company can, go to this previous highs if these drugs work out well. This T cell response, like you talked about, they really work on this particular scenario. I can see a positive use case for this company to go, at least go toward the previous highs. So from a monthly performance perspective, as you can see here, I love this chart. 3 continuous down months here, nice upswing, down again, up nicely, down, up. So I like to see these type of charts. So right now, I feel like, it's okay to moderately buy. Companies giving out some public offering of stock to generate some cash to produce, to really fund their operations. So stock has been fallen off 18%, but now it's really, going ahead and forging ahead from a stock price perspective. I feel like it's okay to moderately buy, even though I'm aware stock has run up so nicely as of, since January. Buy moderately on these down days, or slowly. I think it's okay to buy at this point. Buy slowly and accumulate a nice position here. From a weekly performance perspective, this is where you can see here stock after the secondary offering of shares, stock has dropped significantly. That's when we jump in and buy slowly and accumulate a nice position here. And this stock, it gives you opportunity. Don't need to worry about buying all at once, because as you can see here in the monthly chart as well as weekly chart, there are opportunities to buy the stock. It falls off once in a while, so you can keep adding to the position if the stock comes down. From a daily performance perspective, big news, a secondary offering, stock tanked. This is when we should be buying some, but now it's not late. We could still buy some and hold it. And as you can see here, 7th June dropped, 1st June again drop. But overall, I think if you look at the daily, it's doing nicely. So if you look at monthly performance, the way to read this chart is we got months at the top, 2020, years at the top, 2021, 2020, all the way to 2015. And then we got months, December all the way to January. So this year stock has done very nicely, as you can see here. Jan, Feb, March, April, May, all positive. June negative with this secondary offering or public offering of additional share. They have done very nicely for 1 year, or in 2021. 2020 negative, as you can see here, couple real bad months, then stock went up. Couple more bad months, stock went up nicely into 2021. So as you scan through this, you could see some pattern. Sometimes in March, Jan, Feb, March, typically it's a little bit lower. Company stock drops, and also later in October, September, August, September, October, also you see some pattern here. So I'll be watching. I'll be buying. On the drops. I already bought some. With the secondary offering drop, I'll be adding to the position as the stock drops, and basically generate a nice position and get ready as the stock company really proves out themselves in these clinical trials. So from a insider trading perspective, it's a good one to see. One is the CEO here, Bedu Ado. I think he had some option exercise. It's okay for CEO to exercise some options. That's okay, but I did not see a sell. He exercised and probably accumulated. And as you can see here, insiders are buying the stock. This is a CFO, officer, director. They're all buying the shares. I mean, not huge amount. They're buying, not great cost here, 17,000, 5,000, 11,000. And number of shares is also low. That shows, the execs and the insiders are confident about their own stock, and they're buying, even though the number of shares is less, but still they're buying. That's the good news. Now let's look at technicals here. We looked at the fundamentals. Now let's look at the technicals. So this is a 10-year chart, as you can see here. So if you look here, sometimes in 2018 April, stock dropped, and it was almost at $300, as you can see here. But with this whole FDA approval issue, stock dropped down all the way. Since 2018, stock has been trying to make a solid base. As you can see here, it did nothing for almost 3-4 years. But now it's really showing some nice pipeline and trying to make some progress here. So I could see a positive case here. If it really proves out, in this clinical trials, it can really do very nicely. And earnings is also coming pretty soon. I think it's later. It's in a little bit later, not right now. But as you can see, it's already made a nice base, and it can really jump on any positive news. And check-in money flow, as you can see here, it's telling you smart money is flowing into the stock right now. That's always good to see. And the volume average, it's also increasing. That's also good to see. So with that, let's and also DMI, as you can see here, the blue line is crossing over red line. That's a positive indication. That's a bullish crossover here. So with that, let's look at a little bit less time frame, like 1 year, 1 day chart. So if you look at one year, 1 day chart, I think stock has kind of, since January this year, stock has kind of taken off. That's the good news. I mean, it came down at times, but generally it's going up since January. So, from the long, trading range, it kind of broke out, and now it's trying to show some progress. If you look at the RSI was overbought before, but now it's around 55. It's okay to buy a little bit at this time, but this company typically hits this overbought once in a while, but then it falls off. This is a good time to buy. From an implied vol perspective, it's very low. Even if you want to buy option, you can buy call option. But because stock price is so low, it's around $11 now, I would rather buy the stock outright and hold a nice position. And if you look at the DMI right now, as we speak, bulls and bears are fighting. You got the blue line, it's trying to decide where to go. You got the red line here, both are joining together. So at this time, bulls and bears are deciding what ways to go. Mainly with the stock dropping with this public offering. That's why there is some bearishness. Now the stock is showing some progress. I can see the blue line going above red line because of this. Stock is now trying to nicely bounce back. On the balance volume perspective, it's going up. If the on the balance goes up, that tells you there are more buyers than sellers. It's always good to know that. From a check-in money flow perspective, I think smart money is flowing into the stock. I think last couple of days there is a little bit drop off and some stability, but generally there's good news. Smart money is going into the stock, and now there is some stabilization. So if you look at the options market, typically options market gives you good indication of on where the stock might go. So I have your option chain 154 days out. It tells you where the stock might go. Current stock price as of Friday is $11.52. And as you look through this option chain here, $15 expiration in November 19. There is a good interest here 123. There is 100, 213, 184. That tells you in the option market, folks are betting these stocks will go to $15, $17, $20, 22, even 25. So there is some good conviction, and folks are really thinking it will go high. And if you look at the put side of the house, there is some volume, but it's not too high. People are buying put options. Probably they have some shares, or they're buying put options mainly at 10, 7.5. There is some volume even later. But generally, if you look at overall option statistics from Thinkorswim, from TD Ameritrade, there are more calls traded, 3,942, than the puts. Puts are traded very less, 624. So that tells you folks are more bullish about this stock than bearish. That makes the put call ratio as 1.5. That's always a good sign. That tells you folks are betting this stock will go up. Now let's see what should we do now. We looked at fundamentals, we looked at technicals. What should we do? So by looking at this company, it's a clinical stage immunotherapy company, and company has zero revenue at this point, but they're developing a solid pipeline of novel cancer therapies. Mainly they got T-cell activating technology, which is very good. And they also announced closing of 52 million public offering. That's why stock kind of dropped off, but now it's picking up very nicely. And certain insiders, including certain members of company, they are purchasing the shares in this stock offering. That's good to know. If the insiders are buying this company, they have some positive conviction about this company. Mainly they know the company very well, and they know they're working on multiple pipeline drugs, and they might know the company will do well if these pipeline drugs will work out well. And with this proceeds of these additional shares, they want to basically use that for their expenses, and I think they will get around 51.7 million. So that's good to know. And they will use this to develop their pipeline, clinical pipeline, and also for the general corporate purposes as a working capital. Mainly this company does not make revenue. They need to have some money to continue their operations and basically churn out this new pipeline. That's why they're using this money. So by looking at overall the fundamentals, the technical, and also where the company has been in the past, I feel like its stock is a little bit expensive from a valuation perspective, but it's good to buy moderately. I'm buying a good position here just to make sure take advantage of this stock drop. But I'm going to add to my position as the stock drops. It will always give you opportunity to buy. So with that, I feel like it's a good opportunity to buy at this time, moderately at this point on this dip. mainly because it's got a lot of catalysts, and if these drugs work out well, I can see the company going up nicely. So with that, thank you very much. Happy investing. Thank you.